I'm convinced that my kids and grandkids are going to grow up in hell.
Statistics show that guys are falling left and right. When I was 14, I crossed the line from legal to illegal activity.
If I can sneak behind someone's back, if I can do it at my parents' house, or if I can lie to someone's face and make them believe it, that was the high for me.
Just this big old cloud of shame.
Those statistics are undeniable, and they're something the church has to face.
It hurt me deeply, and I was the one that said enough is enough.
You're going to end up in jail, worst case scenario.
Absolutely eating the church in America alive, and is destroying our society. Those statistics that you just saw are not for alcoholism. They're not for an eating disorder. They are about sexual addiction, which is absolutely devastating the church in America and destroying our culture.
The nature of the internet has created an epidemic around sexual behavior online. Viewing pornography, having online affairs, paying for sex, prostitution.
It's kind of an underground secret sin that everybody really tries to keep hidden. It'll come up on you in a moment where you don't expect it, and all of a sudden, bam, just something on the side of the screen catches your attention, and that leads to another thing, that leads to another thing, and it's just a chain of events.
Sexual addiction, any addiction, is a symptom of something deeper that's going on.
When I was 4, I was molested. I molested my niece when I was 14. It happened a total of 6 times. About 30 days apart between each incident. It happened for 6 months, so a total of 6 times. And again, after each time I said, I just can't do it. I know the law, I know what they do to people like me, I knew everything.
I was desperate for answers to a problem that my husband had with pornography and sexual addiction. Not only had our marriage been torn apart, but my son, unfortunately, struggles with sexual addiction as well.
Now, the average stay on a porno site is not 5 minutes, it's 2 to 3 hours. And that tells you that the average guy sitting in a church pew on Sunday morning is getting more porn per month than the Word of God. Recently I did a clinical study for Ministry Toolbox, which is a very large website for pastors. It turns out that 58% of them are sexual addicts, and 24% of the women turned out to be sexual addicts also, and they were in deep distress because of the level of shame that's connected with what they're caught up in.
The negative consequences range from losing families, losing the ability to see children, losing careers.
To see how the enemy is allowed to put hooks into their life that cause a lot of shame, a lot of pain.
I really felt every time I tried to stop, it got worse.
But see, sexual bondage is not about sex as much as it is about processing the wounds and the pains in your life. You were wounded in a relationship, and you need to be healed in a relationship as well.
The healing process for me started through a for men only group, through Pure Desire. In the last four years, I've been actually leading a group and getting a chance to show some hope that, you know, hey, I am a convicted felon, but you know what? God has a different label for me.
I've been in Pure Desire for the past 2 years, and I believe the most important thing in those past 2 years is having the awareness of the struggles that I have and the things I deal with, knowing that I'm not alone in these struggles.
We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be fearful. There is hope.
You're not alone. There are people that understand you and understand addictive disease in ways that can help you break out of isolation and get the support that you need.
This is a true disorder, and through Pure Desire Ministries and For Men Only, there is hope for men, and through Betrayed Heart, there is hope for women.
I'm a free man of sexual addiction. I've been for quite a while. Guys that come into these groups, you know, will ask, well, man, you've been here 12 years. Well, You don't have to be here 12 years. It's my choice to be there.
Those statistics are rather alarming about the general population of sexual addiction, but they're just a hint of the depth of sexual addiction that occurs among military personnel. I know from personal experience, having served as a platoon commander in Vietnam and a fighter pilot, I literally breathed the air of sexual bondage. Then when I came back to the United States, my addiction level skyrocketed, and I didn't realize why. Because when you know the addiction story, you know the trauma story. And when you know the trauma story, you know the addiction story. That's why we've developed Pure Desire Ministries International. I'm a certified sexual addiction therapist, and I've listened to hundreds and possibly thousands of men. And the trauma that they experience is directly connected to the depth of their sexual addiction. That's why military personnel, especially now with the multiple tours of duty and combat environment, are uniquely vulnerable. We help them in Pure Desire Ministries to get a handle on the addictive dynamics that's taking place in their head and in their soul, because sexual addiction is not just a moral problem, it's primarily a brain problem. That's why also we've teamed together with Pure Desire, has teamed together with Northwest Renewal, which uses brain state technology to help the individual balance their mind out after the trauma has taken place. In fact, we had a client come in recently who wasn't struggling with sexual addiction, but was so severely traumatized by the Gulf War, he hadn't been able to work for 4 years. Within about 23 sessions, he was totally healed. He walked out and his wife said, "I got my husband back that I originally married." In fact, he's now applying to be a missionary helicopter pilot. We're beginning to experience more and more with combat vets the movement from bondage to real freedom.